how did this group of very dedicated young people get so violent? And how did someone else hijack the Gen Z movement is the question. Because it became so violent and so many lives were lost because the police did incriminate shooting, and because there was so much property that was burnt and damaged. That is the question in everybody's mind. Was Gen Z's protest, was it hijacked by other violent people who wanted to take advantage of the situation?
Foreign Affairs expert Bhairaja Pandey, sir. Welcome to the Gorkha Spirit.
Thank you very much.
How do you see the Gen Z protest?
Gen Z protests brought about monumental changes in Nepal. However, now there are questions being raised. How did this group of very dedicated young people get so violent? And how did someone else hijack the Gen Z movement is the question. And if it was continuation of Gen Z movement, are Gen Z people responsible for all the illegal activities that went on? Was the protest meant to be peaceful? The result of the protest was very violent at the end of it, and this is going to live with us for a very long time. If it was a peaceful protest and the change had happened peacefully, then it would be easy. But because it became so violent and so many lives were lost because the police did incriminate shooting, and because there was so much property that was burnt and damaged. Now the whole movement has got a very confused look. Confused look in the sense that a nationalist movement that sought to bring about peaceful change in the country against corruption, against mismanagement, suddenly turned violent, and now there are issues and people are concerned, and now even those people enforcing regulations will need to find out who among the protesters were peaceful and who among them have taken part in violent activities. So the problem is now that the movement has received very different interpretations. Some people think that it was the greatest national achievement, greatest revolution Nepal has ever encountered, while others are lamenting the loss of lives and loss of property and the precedent it sets for Nepal going forward. So the people who started this with very good intention are also confused. And now I also hear that there isn't a unified leader of Gen Z movement. So we don't know with whom the dialogue is going. There are several leaders, and there's dialogue going on, but with whom? What is their voice, and how are they going to address it? It seems to be a collection of different voices, different people saying different things at a different pitch. So the result is that the nation is very confused at the moment. And then we also have army, which is a little bit confused, and then the whole political system is in a disarray, and at the moment we don't seem to know where we are going. So, Genz movement would have been very nice if it was clean and defined, but that is not the case anymore.
Do you also believe that Genz agendas are hijacked? So, do you think so?
Now that is the question in everybody's mind. Was Genz protest, was it hijacked by other violent people who wanted to take advantage of the situation and burn and destroy property and burn all important buildings like Singh Darbar and the Supreme Court, Parliament and all of this. So, if we take Genz in their word, what they say that it was their intention was to do everything peaceful. There was no intention of any violence. The fact is violence occurred. So, who is responsible for the violence? Who hijacked? So, there are many speculations going on now of different entities and political parties that hijacked their movement and turned it to their benefit by destroying records that are in Supreme Court and in Singh Darbar and so on. So that is still to be examined at the moment. So it's not a clean. It did not achieve a clean revolution. It became a very confused situation.
So in the beginning, their mandate is to directly elected presidential systems to punish the corrupted since 2046 BS or 2007 BS. So these just like issues are suppressed now because the government, the politicians force to capture the Genz who stole the things or just like set fire the government buildings. So do you think their mandate will be fulfilled in such case?
Now the mandate is a bit lost because they had a very lofty mandate. They wanted corruption to be examined and they wanted governance to be examined, and they thought that they would see a very beautifully functioning Nepal. But the process itself now has led to a very different outcome. The outcome is that the whole nation is now confused about who Genz is, what was their role, what was their aim, and whether they achieved their aim. That is also in question. Now there is this big diversion. Diversion is of the destruction and illegality that followed, and so that's a big issue. And so their message has become diluted. Their message of clean government, efficient government, corruptionless government has become highly diluted.
So what do you think? Now they are running away from the homes, they are hiding. So what do you think about their future for tomorrow? What will be their
Genz? If they are Genz, they say we have not involved ourselves in any illegal activity, so they have nothing to fear. But if there are other elements that infiltrated Genz and took advantage of the situation, then those people will probably be held answerable by whichever the government comes. So, but in any revolution, destruction happens, and it is usually considered as a normal part of a revolution. When things like that happen, it's normal. But in this instance, what it is coming out is that the entity that started the revolution is saying we did nothing violent, but somebody did. Somebody did get in do violent stuff, and there are lots of reports on that. So someday we'll have to figure out how we are going to what extent are we going to hold them accountable for the activities that they did either as part of Genz or as part of a Genz movement that got hijacked.
So, what's your suggestions to the Genz who participate in the somehow it's illegal though?
Now, I think that anyone who has done illegal activities there, if it is within the purview of the law, then they probably will be forgiven. But if it is like burning of heritage matters and buildings and all of this, they probably will be held accountable, and it's probably the law will take its course.
Thank you. Thanks
Okay.
for joining with us.
Thank you very much.